battle lines are drawn. The leading Republican presidential candidate against the man in charge of the Republican National Committee. They may say it's all professional and not personal, but the bulk of American voters are not that stupid. They see through this facade. It all points to potential disaster in Cleveland. So might it not be smarter at this stage for someone to just back off, let the chips fall where they may, let the voters speak, and focus more on either picking up the pieces of a shattered party or celebrating with those who said, "We told you so," about the winner in November? A place where all pieces are dealt with using intelligence and common sense, unlike other shows and other hosts. Go ahead, let the political animal begin, if you will. From the left, the land of Bernie Sanders' lawn and Hillary Clinton's disturbing cackle, veteran Democratic strategist, executive director of the Travis County, Texas Democratic Party, JD Gins. From the right, the land of Cruz debate skills, Kasich playing peacemaker, and the Donald daring any and all to take him on, senior writer from Opportunity Lives, Israel Ortega. Gentlemen, thanks for joining us. Israel, let me go ahead and begin with you. Reince Priebus says this latest rant with Donald Trump will just blow over because the two of them have been going at each other now for a couple of days. Let's just take this from another perspective here. Might it not just be smarter if Reince Priebus just says, okay, look, say what you want. We're not going to change anything. Just let the chips fall where they may come November, because that's what the people want, and then go to work.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. I think the party has a problem right now. I mean, on its hands, particularly, this process does not seem democratic. But at the same time, Reince is correct. These rules have been in place for some time now. And Donald Trump is just simply flat out losing. I mean, he's getting out hustled by Ted Cruz. And rules are the rules, and they apply to everyone, and that includes Donald Trump. And I think right now, I think there's a lot of sour grapes by Donald Trump.
But basically, the point here would be for everybody to listen, and we want people to hear this, Israel, is let it happen. And I think what I said at the top here is very much the case, because you're going to have one of two things. You are either going to have the Trump backers who will say, we told you so, we won, he is now the president of the United States, or Reince Priebus and his people are going to come back and say, we told you guys so, that this was going to go wrong, and this is the wrong thing to do, and everything falls apart. But worry about Congress, worry about things you can control. Let the system speak. It's dangerous, but it's where you got to go.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to let the system work, and I think that's why it's so important that voters do come out and vote. And look, if Donald Trump is able to mobilize his supporters and he can get the nomination before July, then that's what the party needs to respect and abide by. But until that happens, I think Ted Cruz is going to continue doing what he needs to do.
JD, I want to bring you in on this and talk about, earlier in the show, we talked about some of the violence that's going on, some of the threats that are happening right now, which is really becoming dangerous. We really can't even imagine what might happen at any convention. We don't know where everything's going to go ahead and blow up here. But here you have Bernie Sanders' campaign under fire. A supporter at a campaign event talked about corporate Democratic whores. And Bernie Sanders came right out and said, wait a minute, I'm sorry for this. It doesn't belong here. It was insensitive. Haven't we reached a point where the candidates themselves, and Bernie Sanders can lead the way on this, get out in front and say, people, shut up. We don't need this in any way, shape, or form. And everybody's got to kind of ratchet this down. Even Bernie and Hillary got to ratchet it down a little bit. Come on.
Well, there's not an apples-to-apples comparison in
No. I'm not making an apples-to-apples convention. You're right. A comparison. You're right. But I'm just saying, let's stop with putting everything on an equal footing and just say everybody's got to ratchet down.
Yeah, well, I think that Bernie Sanders is running the process, and I don't think that there's a big chance that his supporters are going to riot if something happens. I see a lot more threat to peace at the Republican convention. I think the Democratic Party will come back together. I think we've had a hard-fought nomination process, and if Bernie Sanders wins, then I think, it'd be a surprise to everybody. But right now, Hillary's got more delegates, got more states, got more raw votes, and I think it's looking pretty tough. And I do think you start seeing Bernie Sanders telling his supporters to ratchet it down because they know the alternative. We tear the Democratic Party in half, and we hand it over to a dysfunctional Republican Party. So I do think you'll hear positive stuff out of Bernie Sanders when it comes time.
All right, now I'm going to lead to something else here, but here is Jane Sanders talking about the fact that no one is going to clinch the convention. And of course, even she says that everything's got to calm down, but she still believes that Bernie Sanders, her husband, is the guy to lead the Democrats. Here she is.
If we keep on going with this momentum, we can cut them and cut them. Now, I don't think anybody's going to get the amount of pledged delegates they need when we walk into the convention. And if that happens, then I would expect that people would be looking and saying, who's the stronger candidate? And every poll shows that Bernie's the stronger candidate against all the Republicans.
Okay, 40 seconds to you, JD. Is it not fair to say that Bernie Sanders is doing the right thing because if he tries to stay out of it? Because look, Hillary Clinton has received tens of thousands of dollars from Verizon executives and lobbyists. She took $250,000 to be at one of their speeches in 2013. And then today, what does she do? She shows up on the picket line for the workers. This woman has just got a frightening amount of lies that not even Democrats can fall for anymore. It's right out in the open.
I think that Bernie Sanders will continue to run. I think he'll continue to run on his message. And if he has a shot at clinching the nomination at the convention because Hillary doesn't have the delegate count, then I think it'll be an open
But
season.
deal with that, if you will. JD, deal with that fact that she takes money from Verizon and then gets on the picket line with Verizon workers. That's despicable.
I think that Hillary Clinton is a little more conservative than most extreme progressives, and myself probably included, would like. But I don't think she's nearly as bad as the right has to offer.
No. Yeah, but that's wrong. Can you at least say to me, JD, that this is wrong? Yes?
That she's taking money
That she's taking money from Verizon and then getting on the picket line with the workers, yes?
I think she has to explain herself a little bit more on that, but I don't doubt she's better for labor than anybody on the Republican side.
Okay, 20 seconds to you, Israel. Isn't this something that everybody should just attack at? Because this is just completely transparently bad.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, I think not enough coverage is actually being devoted to what you just raised, and I think that's a problem for her. And I think it's going to be a problem for her to win over a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters. I've been talking to Sanders supporters in places like Colorado who have said that they don't plan to vote for Hillary Clinton in the general, and I think that's a problem for her.
Go after her, because there it is sitting right there, taking money and then being on the picket line with the workers. It's just sad. Israel Ortega, JD Gins. Gentlemen, thanks so much for being with us. Not everyone from the right loves Paul Ryan. You'll find out next on The Hardline.